in this series, I'm taking this rather ordinary 10 by 14 prefab shed and turning it into a really nice hand tool workshop. And in this video, it's all about the flooring. Okay, so in the last video, I covered most of the plywood flooring with this moisture barrier protection product. And next up, I was ready to put down the tar paper. I suppose in some ways, both this moisture barrier product and the tar paper kind of do the same thing, but I figured it can't hurt to do both. So I just cut the pieces to length and then stapled them down to the plywood.
I guess they don't call it tar paper for nothing, because it smells really bad.
Oh, yeah, the other thing. I finally installed the air conditioner unit, which I should have done a long time ago. So working in comfort these days. So yesterday I got all the wood in the shop. This is rustic white oak flooring, pretty short pieces, but it's going to be just perfect for the shop here. I was debating about which direction to put the pieces in. First I was thinking about going, you know, this way, but then I was kind of thinking about maybe putting it this way instead, because that way the whole building will feel longer. Kind of give the illusion of space. Plus with the bench being that way, I think it will just look kind of cleaner. So that's what I'm thinking about. Since the boards are rustic, there are a lot of pieces which are like not ideal, so I'm just gonna sort through them and see which ones I want to use. So, since this room is only 140 square feet, I didn't want to rent a floor nailer for this job. So I used my 16 gauge nailer instead, with 1 5/8 inch nails.
Since the wood will expand and contract like this way, that's why I'm making sure I'm having a spacer right here.
So the wood goes with a groove against the wall, and then you shoot down at the tongue at an angle. And at first the nails protruded just a little bit too much, and it took me a minute to figure out the best way to do it. So I advanced the nailer so the nail would go in as far as possible, and then once I sat down and put quite a lot of pressure down onto the tongue when shooting, that seemed to do the trick, so I got a better result that way. For the next piece, the tongue fits right into the groove. And the more I did this, the more I just realized you just have to bang it in once or twice and it fits in pretty nicely. And here in the beginning, I'm doing a lot of small taps.
One thing about these rustic pieces is that sometimes, for the most part, the tongue and grooves are fine, but every now and then you come across a piece where it doesn't quite line up. I mean, we got this for a really good price, which is, you know, why that's the case. And here, for example, there is no tongue at all. So that's no good.
So rainy day today, got started yesterday with a couple of rows, and yeah, let's get back to work.
I was thinking about this all night. I was dreaming about it. So I organized the pieces into really small, a little bit larger and long. That way I can just kind of find the one that I'm looking for really easily.
So there are a lot of short pieces here, and I would say the work is going relatively slow because of that. Now, if you wanted to get some wood for your space and you got it from one of the big box home improvement stores, you're going to get longer pieces. However, you're also going to pay a ton more. And what I did was I called up a local flooring company and I asked if they had any rustic white oak available. You know, utility grade, which they did, and I was able to get the price down to $1.50 a square foot, which is a really good price. But then you also do get a lot of pieces like this, which are short and very rustic at times, but that's fine. Funny thing is, if you did go to one of the big box stores looking for unfinished white oak, which by the way I think is the ideal wood for a shop, it's durable, beautiful, although I would totally put down any solid hardwood I have access to. Anyway, you'd probably have a hard time finding white oak in a store like that. Perhaps they would show you some engineered hardwoods and other rather glossy and polished options, which, I don't know, I would not recommend in a shop, because add some sawdust to that finish and then you have a very slippery surface. Plus, any dents are going to chip and not look so great. So solid wood is definitely the way to go if you have that option.
So we've been putting the hardwood floor in the big shop and then putting it down in here. One question that I've been getting a ton lately on Instagram and in comments is like, why would you put down a wood floor in the shop? Like, it might get dent and you may drop something on it. And I'm like thinking that's kind of the point. I would love it if it gets kind of dent and beat up a bit. It's hardwood, it's beautiful white oak. It already has these imperfections. So I don't mind at all if you dent it and scuff it up. It's gonna look even better.
One thing I was thinking about when doing this was, well, in the big shop we've been busy this summer putting down the same flooring. However, instead of nailing it down piece by piece, we've been gluing together these big panels, almost like the size of a tabletop, and then sanding those panels on top of the bench, and then gluing the complete panels down onto the concrete floor in sections with a special glue. And I made a video about that, which you can check out if you missed. But I was thinking about how glad I am that we used that method for the big shop instead of putting down each individual piece like this, because it is just so much work on your knees and on the ground. And of course, if you rent one of those fancy floor nailers, it's probably a little bit easier on your body, but it's just so much work on the ground, which is totally fine for 140 square feet, but for close to 1,000 square feet, I mean, that's a lot. The other thing I was thinking about is I put down a laminate floor last year in a bigger room, and it took me like one day, whereas this project is taking far longer. The pieces are smaller. Of course, I love this wood. I mean, I love this wood so much and the look of it. So it's totally worth it, but I was almost a little surprised just how long it was taking me to make progress, which also is due to the fact that so much of the wood was, you know, not the greatest.
So I was just putting the next piece on here, and each piece I do is just a little high. So I just pried this piece open or removed it so that I can remove this one and replace it, because I think the problem is that the tongue is not routed on this one properly, which causes whatever piece I put next to it to be a little proud. So I'm going to replace this one. Okay, so this is the piece that I just ripped off. And as you can see, the distance between the tongue and this space right here is not very big. This is a piece, this is a correct piece, where the tongue is put down slightly this direction, so there's more space right here. This one is no good. This is the way it's supposed to be. I just have to replace it with another piece. But this was actually the first time that I actually had to go back and rip off a section. So not too bad. It's like I tried to check for this ahead of time, but you know, it's a lot of pieces to go through, so sometimes you miss it. It's like whenever possible I try to find a piece that is just the right length at the very end, since I have so many, instead of going out and making a cut. Sometimes that's possible, sometimes not. Okay, first of all, look what a beautiful piece. So much figure, really beautiful. And then look at the groove. I wanted to address is that the order that I'm doing things here. So, you know, I put the drywall around the perimeter, and then once the flooring is down, you know, there's lots of marks on it and everything needs to be sanded. But before I sand, I want to put the remaining of the drywall, I want to do the mud and the taping, and then the painting. And then when that's all done, that's when I'll sand the floors. Because, you know, then I don't have to be so careful, you know, if I get any mudding or paint on the floor, because it's gonna get sanded anyway. So that's my genius plan here. So it's been raining, and I think it's gonna rain soon again, so I don't want to take all my stuff outside on the porch, so it's just gonna be a little bit more cramped here today.
I guess the other thing too, with the whole idea of why would you put a hardwood floor in a shop, is the question of impact. And this is especially true if you compare it to a concrete shop floor. So let's say you have a beautiful $200 Lie-Nielsen tenon saw and you happen to drop it on end on the floor. Now I would much rather have the floor, the wood floor, take the impact as opposed to the saw. And that's the case with any tools really, but especially nice hand tools.
Okay, brand new day. Now let's get this floor finished.
The other reason of having a wooden floor in a shop, and this is probably my main reason for doing this, and that's simply the question of aesthetics. I mean, I want the shop to feel as beautiful and as comfortable as my house. Actually, my house doesn't have as nice floors as these. But I think that if you want to spend a lot of time in a space, well, then it's important that it's nice. And I really think that few things can create that feeling as effectively as a nice floor. And yes, it's an investment both in time and in resources, but the change is pretty dramatic. But I was thinking about what would be the options for this little shop if I wasn't going with hardwood, because you really need to do something. And I suppose you could always go with OSB or plywood and you could stain or finish that. Although I really am not a huge fan of staining a floor. In my old shop in Oregon, I ended up using tongue and groove spruce flooring, mainly because it was the cheapest wood floor I could get my hands on. Now, it was quite soft and not that nice, and I ended up staining it a mahogany red color. And while it looked nice initially, it just didn't wear well over time. So in many ways, going with white oak now feels like such a luxury, like a real treat. So I just feel very good about that. So once I came to the last row here, I did rip the pieces on the table saw to fit them in, and I ended up face nailing the last boards with a 23 gauge pin nailer using 1 1/4 inch pins, which aren't as visible as the longer nails. Also, I left the same amount of spacing between the last row and the wall. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so the flooring is done, and what a transformation. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love the rustic nature of it, that there are some knots and some imperfections, and I think it just looks great. I think it's just, you know, what a nice shop floor. Of course, next up, I'm gonna finish the drywall, the mudding, taping, painting, and then I'm gonna sand. And in terms of finishing, I think I'm just gonna go with like a simple coat to seal it, like a sanding sealer or something like that. I don't want anything that's too shiny. In my old shop in Oregon, I put like polyurethane on the floor, which I think was a big mistake because it made it way too slippery when you know, get sawdust on it. So I don't want anything like that. Just like in the big shop, we put just like 1 coat of sanding sealer just to give it a little bit of protection.
And I think I'm gonna do that here as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if there was anything in the comments below that wasn't clear, and also I've done a ton of videos about this project already, so if there was one you missed, you can go and check it out. I'll put the link to the playlist below. But yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye!